Hi, we're back with another day of working in my sketchbook. So I'm starting from scratch here. I thought I'd share with you the process of starting a sketchbook page to do something like this. How did I get to this? I will continue to be using my pastel colors that I shared in my earlier video. But before we even get to that stage, let me just double check that we are okay. So before we start with the mark makings and the layers, I normally would start with just any old color. So I would usually use paints that I've had mixed from my previous work. I've got this dark green ready, another green ready here as well. Just gonna add a bit of, this is a pouring medium to make it more flowy. I'm just gonna put in my bin. Okay, let's start. This is a really dark, don't know what it is, blue. Is it blue or green? Paints gray, can't remember. Got my tub of water here. Just, oh, I think this is Paints gray. Oh, and I forgot to put on my apron, so I'm gonna do it very quickly now. Sorry about that. Okay, hope you're having a good day today, or if you're watching this at the end of the day, I hope you had a wonderful day today and you're just chilling and resting, and maybe you're starting to paint with me. So if you just watched the video at the start of your painting session and you decide you want to join me, and stop or pause the video, grab your tools, grab your sketchbook, or if you're working on paper directly, get your things ready and let's paint together. So this is pretty much laying down paint, covering the white pages on this A4 sketchbook. Easy, nothing to think about, just focus on covering the white page. I think this is done. I'm done with that tub. Let's try this tub. What can I get with this? Oh, this is a dark green, very nice. I will not worry too much about painting it too evenly, because even having uneven edges will make the page quite interesting as well. To be careful not to get any paint on my sleeve. This is a good shirt. I don't know why I chose this shirt this morning, but I did, so I shall be a bit careful. just add more water just to even up the paint, just to pull it a bit more, stretch it a bit more so that more surface can be covered. Maybe I should just focus on this side first so that as I finish this side, this will start to dry and we can start to layer this side of the page first as we wait for this side to dry. Okay. Oops. As I mentioned, I'm not being too careful about what I'm doing on this page, apart from covering all the white spots on the page, which I think I have done. Yes. Okay, that's a bit too light, looking too light there. But I'm not too worried because this is not the only layer that we'll be having. After this, we can start, adding more colors, bringing in more color variety, and start building beautiful layers. Okay, I think I'm happy with this page, and we'll start with this page. The more you script, the more paint will be moved and you'll see some transparent layer in the white background at the back. So I'm gonna let's finish this tip here. If you are painting at the end of a long day, treat this as a winding down session, especially when you're working on backgrounds. It's relaxing, calming. Get the flow going, get your muscle to relax with all the movements, all the energy, the strokes into the movement as you finish covering up the spaces. So I think we're good to move on to the next part, and I'm not gonna waste whatever paint that I have on my brush. As I have shared in my previous video, as I'm working, whenever I have surplus extra paint left on my brush, which I do not care to finish it on the canvas or on the sketchbook page, I would scrape the leftover paints onto a scrap piece of art paper, so that eventually after a few sessions or at the end of your painting session you get something like this, which makes into interesting cards that you can cut up into shapes. Okay, I think that's about it that you can get from there. I'm going to clean my palette knife as well. Onto the page and on to the paper. I love this green, this dark green that we're creating. Okay, dump that into the water. Two options at this point. You can either get a hairdryer to dry off your surface before you add on another color, which I will do right now. I am picking up my hairdryer. Okay, so I have dried these pages a little bit. Still warm from my very, very strong hairdryer. Now, I'm gonna lay down some paint. Gonna make sure that I don't go off camera. Bring in my palette a little bit so you can see whatever I'm doing here on this side. So these are just titanium white with a bit of gesso and pouring medium that I've put into this squeeze bottle, which makes it so easy to add on color to my palette as I'm painting. Next, I shall choose a color to work with. I'm gonna start with blue because I want to finish off this cobalt blue deep. Let's see. Again, this is to provide the first few early layers on this page, so I'm not too worried, but I do want to keep to the pastel-y light theme instead of too dark. So, again, start having all the designs to come to the middle, like so. Gonna have some line here. At this stage, I'm not thinking of any composition just yet. Just laying down different blotches of color that may or may not be seen by the end. But what it does is it provides an interesting layer at the bottom, so that when you layer on more colors at the top, more paint at the top, it will, you can even, etch through it, scratch it, and these layers can be seen at the bottom. So it always adds that interesting effect. Now that we have blue, let's see what else we have here. It's pretty much dried up. Let's see if I still have any color in this tiny tube. Almost finished, but let's not waste any. Let's shake it. Just let it, I'm going to leave it there and let it flow out. And if we were to mix this with the blue on my brush, it will become a lovely purpley dark lilac color, which is a very nice thing to have and to add to the page. At this point, I'm still using a really white brush, so that what I get is really big, thick marks. I should switch brush at some point, but let me just finish whatever is on this brush right now. Not getting any more from this, I think. I wonder if I can get a smaller brush to pull out the paint from here. So I can. And I can even make directly, paint directly with this brush. No actual composition at the moment. It's just adding more layers, adding more colors, and sometimes I would layer even on top of the newly painted spot like that. What you can do immediately right after with still white paint is to, as I mentioned, to run a skewer on it and get a design like so. Let's add more pink. I want to have a more opaque pink here. So that it's really thick and it will create a nice first few layers on this paper. So I've got this mountain kind of thing. Maybe I'll do semicircle here. That's not quite pretty. It's not a perfect semicircle, but it's really okay. And I'll go over that shortly once it has dried a little bit. Gonna continue to throw in pinks everywhere as much as I can. Like so. I've decided to go over certain areas of this donut shape ring with some pinks, just to add variation. I'm going to add a bit more white here so that we have a lighter pink. It's almost, I'm getting almost a fuchsia, and I'm gonna finish this in here because the green at the back is still the first layer, and I don't want only one layer of paint on here. So there. Okay. Let's go ahead and spread the pink in different areas. So that your eye can follow, will roam over the pages to see, oh, there's pink there, there's pink there, there's pink there. It makes it more interesting. I'm gonna do a teardrop here. So I might go quiet and maybe add some background music. So I hope you continue to watch as I lay down colors onto the first few layers of this page. Enjoy the process. yellow. Let's see what color we can get. Gonna finish my brush here. Clean it. Get as much paint as I can. Clean my brush and maybe pick up another small brush. Start the yellows. Some yellow streaks down here. I don't have a clear plan as to the color palette that I want to use on these two pages, but I guess since I'm still testing my pastel acrylics, so it may end up with somewhat this colors that I had previously. I will share in the description the video of me doing that, although that video does not show how I start the process. There was no video like this where I started the process. So I'm going to mix it with yellow. See what color we get. Does it even... Oh, it becomes peachy, a nice peachy color. So again, the idea here is to cover the green dark background with another layer of multicolor. So I've not really decided on the composition just yet. Just hoping to see what pops up from here and what I'm inspired to create from that point. I'm going over this because the color became somewhat transparent and I could see the green background there, which I don't necessarily want to. Always adding white. So I see that I've started another color, so instead of going over that yellow bit, I'm just covering the greens on this side. So that's done. I'm gonna top that here. Since there's still plenty of paint on here, let's just try finishing off over here. Okay. Let's do some green. Do we have blue here? So I have plenty of leftover paint, so this is a good opportunity to use up the paint. This is a good opaque color that I'm getting here. I am really liking that, and I'm just gonna continue painting, finishing this turquoisey paint over here, just following around the pink circle, which may or may not be seen at the end of the painting, or it may be covered with another color depending on how I decided the composition to be shortly. So we just go ahead and paint, paint, paint. So there's turquoise there. Let's have some turquoise here. Go ahead and the lines, the edges does not have to be perfect. The only thing to remember is that the more contrasting elements that you have, the more interesting your art piece will be. So for instance, you'll have thick curved lines like that, imperfect rectangles, another rectangle here, some ovally shaped, some semicircle that's not perfect. So there'll be some shapes that is, with sharp edges like that. and some without. So that's how we make our work more interesting with the contrast that you are building up in your work. I cannot decide what shape to do. No shapes. I'm just gonna lay down paint. Lay down paint and layers. Yep. Let's remember that at this stage, as previously we were covering the white sketchbook page with dark green color. Now what we are doing is covering that first layer with this variety of colors, just because we want to build more depth and create interesting contrasting texture as you paint in different sections and with different size paintbrush. Okay. All right. I am just adding more blue, making it darker and thicker. Oh, what happened to this? Got scraped off, so I'm just going over it again. I really like this. I'm really liking this section, but that's okay. 1, 2, where's my other caps? Okay. I noticed that we are missing green. Do I have any greens? Oh, what I can do is to take this green. What happened to my knife? What happened to my palette knife? There we are. Good. In the attempt to finish off this green, I'm gonna take some green and add white. Let's see. Do we get a nice light shade of green? That would be interesting. It's a bit too light. Maybe I want to add a bit of yellow. This is yellow peel that is not looking that pale. I wonder if that will work. Nice. So I'm getting a yellow-green color. You're not able to see what I'm doing. There you go. This is a lovely yellow green color. Because just now when I added white to the dark green, it was, you know, a bit too muted. I'm getting such a muted color, which I'm not enjoying so much. Let's have some blue streaks on this paper right now. Maybe I'll yet again switch to another brush. Get on my old brushes. Wet the brush. And here's my green incoming. Green, oh nice. It's yellow green, olivey yellow green, not too bright, but not too bad at all. Spreading it quite a bit, trying to get it to be a bit even. Just gonna do it here. Tempting to just finish it off here, but that's okay. I can always go over it if I find this is way too much green here at the bottom. I hope you're seeing this. I'm gonna check. Yes, you are. Okay, let's do this. It's just a lovely green. So, you know, the beauty of mixing your own colors, not using paint straight off the tube, straight off the jar, you will get really interesting colors, and you can vary the shade just by adding either another paint, black or white or gray, depending on what you put. So that is why experimenting, testing, trying your colors and doing swatches in your sketchbook to see what you can come up with is really helpful. In my practice, should be in your practice as well. And I recommend you document it in your sketchbook or have a set of papers where you swatch all these color mixes, because, you know, later on, if you decide to come back to that color, as you go through your swatches, you find something which is, you know, really gets you in the makes you interested to use that color again. You know how to get the mix again, because sometimes the mixes that you get are just beautiful and you don't want to lose that a few months, a few weeks, a few months down the road as you look back at your old artwork and you find that, oh, how did I get that green? And you won't remember if you don't document it. I'm going over this again because I can still see the dark green underneath. The paint has become somewhat transparent because I can't remember what color it was, and I may have added this modeling gel that tends to make colors quite transparent. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer like that. Make it really thick because I like this green so much. Let's do another one here. Just a small section. Having different size section, even though repeating colors, but you are consciously laying down those colors in different sizes, could also add some interest to your paint.